Hello there, and welcome to yet another episode of the Fat Talks. We come your way every Thursday here on Smash 24. We are live, and we're also live on your X Spaces. Those of guys, I only say X Spaces when I come here. When I'm out there, it is Twitter. I don't know, but I have to sort of, learn how to call it X Spaces. So we are live. If you go to Fidelis Leadership Institute, we are live on our X Spaces, but most importantly, we are also on Smart 24. And today we are talking visionary minds. How can you build a future so intentionally that you'll be proud of yourself? And I am very, very privileged today to sit down with a very visionary person. I don't want to say leader because he's yet to explain to me if he's a leader and if he feels that he is a leader. But we are here at from Fidelis Leadership Institute. My name is Lynn Komugisha. Those of you who are watching us for the first time or hearing from us for the first time. And my guest today is none other than Paulo. Yes, Kavuma, a visionary lawyer. He's going to tell us so much more about himself. But I welcome you once again. Be reminded that our Fidelis Leadership has postponed its fellowship from February to March. And so if you have not applied to join the fellowship, I don't know what you're waiting for. We are faithful, available, and teachable, and we are Fidelis leaders. So if you want to be part of the next generation of an ethical mass of, wonderful leaders the global needs, I think this is the time, and we are the people to help you achieve that. So, Mr. Kavuma, Paulo, glad to have you, sir.
Thank you, Lynn.
How do you feel?
Well, first, I must thank you for inviting me. Thank Visionary Minds. Thank Fidelis Leadership Institute for having reached out to me. I mean, who am I out of the millions of people who we here?
Right.
Uganda, East Africa has millions, of people with visionary minds. So to have picked me, I thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll be here to talk about my journey, future what I've done in the media world, telecom world, and now in the legal world.
Before you're giving us, Kasavu Kanyama, before we get into the actual Masavu.
Yes.
Who are you exactly?
Well,
a famous question that everybody seems to dread.
In a way, it breaks the ice. I'm Paulo Kavuma. I'm 60 years old.
Wait, what?
60 years.
No.
Yes.
You guys, no.
That is the social fiber that is in me. Some people call it pedigree.
Wow.
And of course, and more importantly, God. I must thank God for this because He's kept me alive. He's kept me healthy, and to really achieve and reach the goals or the apex of things I've done in my life. So I must thank God. God has enabled me to be here and to reach my goals. You're
claiming you're 60. You don't even look 50. You don't even look 45.
All glory goes to God.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm Dennis. I've lived in Uganda. I went to school in Uganda for my primary, then I went to Kenya for my secondary in Nairobi at a school called St. Mary's School in Nairobi. We've just actually been there for a reunion.
Oh,
yes,
nice.
Great place. Then after St. Mary's School Nairobi, I went to England, the United Kingdom, for my first degree, and actually my first degree, and then at London University. Then again at London University. Then after that, I came back to Uganda. I worked for CableSat International, the very first company that brought CNN to Uganda.
Okay.
It was the very first company that broadcast news in color. Remember at that time we only had UTV.
Yeah.
I'll try and give it to you in a nutshell.
All right.
After that, I worked for the very first company that brought in mobile phones, the GSM mobile phones, called Celtel Clovigen, which later became Zane, which is now called Airtel.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Then after that, I worked for MTN for about 2 years. Then after that, I went to America, got married, stayed there for about 12 years.
Oh, explain
Came
the
back-
accent, guys, but don't be scared.
So I lived in America for about 12 to 15 years. Then came back to Uganda, worked for another telecom company. So that's why a lot of my expertise is in the telecom industry. I work for another telecom company called Uganda Telecom, UTL.
Yeah.
Yes. So Celtel, MTN, UTL, and after UTL, I worked for a company called Eaton, still in the telecom industry. The only difference is that they build masts.
Right.
And they've now been taken over by a company called American Towers, ATC. And during that time, I decided to go back to one of the things I did earlier on in my life, go back to the legal field. So I went back to the Law Society, told me I had to go back to finish my law degree, my LLB. After that, went to LDC, and voila.
Here you are. So in a nutshell,
That is my journey.
that's not a nutshell. That's a huge nutshell.
Yes.
But we're glad to have you, Paulo. Guys, I'm sorry. Can I use Paulo?
Of course.
Because it's so.
Paulo or DPK.
Oh, DPK. Fantastic.
Whichever one you choose.
So you have a beautiful journey that you just shared with us, and most of it is in and out of Uganda.
Yes.
And I'm very certain with all that exposure, it sort of gives a different worldview. Your worldview is not a typical Ugandan worldview.
That's correct.
And how does that shape who you are right now?
Well, again, I must thank God for the opportunity that was given to me and my parents who, well, for some reason decided to send me to the different places. But it gives me a worldwide overview of things, be it in a professional setting, be it in a personal setting. But most of all, I've learned to look at things differently, critically, and out of the box, so to speak. And that is why I was saying, I must go back home and get a chance to impart these new ideas, things I've learned to other people, like in this case, young professionals and young leaders.
Right.
So it really set a good foundation for not only for me as a person or my character, but for the things and companies that I work for.
Right. So here we have some sort of tradition on Fat Talks. You tell us two things. That one is either false, the other is true. And then at the end of the conversation, you reveal to us and say, by the way, that was right, that is wrong. So
as long as I don't forget the questions.
No, we will remind you. We'll remind you, don't worry.
Yes.
So what is so true about you, and what do people think is so true about you, and what is so false?
What is false? What is very true about me is I'm a people person. I like to communicate. I like to talk. I like to joke. And especially one of the instances that perhaps I'm not sure if we'll discuss them. And again, that's why I give glory to God. I had a bout of COVID-19. I was in ICU for about 3 to 4 weeks.
No.
I was on oxygen, but again, God pulled me through. And
God.
And really, that at the end of that incident, I got to know who my true friends were. Why? Because at the end of my stay at the hospital where I was, I did not pay for any of my bills.
No.
My friends just got together and they said, Dennis,
we got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Wow.
Wow.
So, I need to get to know you.
So that goes to show I'm a people person.
Okay.
And I think I'm a nice guy. But of course, I'm human. Every human has, negative points, weak points, so to speak.
Absolutely, we all do. So what is that? What is that false thing about you that people think could be true?
False, that could be true. That's a tough one. So a weak point, or just something false that is true, or something false that is not true?
False and is either true or not true. You tell us.
Something like, actually, a lot of people say that I look like a person who smokes cigarettes.
Right. Guys, you let us know. You let us know if he actually smokes.
Yes.
Guys, he also told us.
You can call up some of my friends and ask them that, is this true?
He actually told us that he's 60 years old, and God, if you see him, you won't believe it.
Yes.
Okay, so let's just dive into our conversation for the day. We are speaking visionary minds. First, there's a growing there's a growing conversation worldwide over self-awareness, over introspection, and us living intentionally and focusing. Could you paint a picture of a moment in time, the experience that could have shaped your vision for the future right now? Were you those people who said, like, my vision is this, my goal is that, my mission is that? And this is what we do at Fidelis Leadership Institute. We take you through that. So you get to understand who you really are.
I think I've had quite a number of incidents that have shaped my life, or, like you said, defining moments. And in a way, these moments actually shape who you are.
Yeah.
They shape your character. They put you in a position where you have to make that decision, an important life decision. And one of those is when I was still young. I was in England studying in the UK, and my grandfather used to be the Katikiro of Buganda long ago, and he passed. So when he died, they called me up in the UK and told me, Dennis, get on the plane. Even if you don't have money, boy, get on the plane and come. And then they told me, come with your counsel. I said, no, where did I from? So when they mentioned it, it didn't register. I just said, okay. So I got on the plane, came for my grandfather's burial, and just before he was buried, I was told that he had chosen me to be his heir. Now, in Kiganda tradition, it's normally from father to son,
like
so
that.
But what my grandfather did was he made a leapfrog. So he skipped my father's, and then he came to me. So he left my father's generation, and then he came to me, and he wanted me to be his heir. So I was taken aback. And at that moment, I had to decide to say yes or no. So I quickly thought about it, but my dad was there, my mom was there, and I was looking at my dad like this, and I was wondering how does he feel?
And your other uncle?
Yes, but that's another side of it.
Yeah.
I had 6 uncles.
Wow.
Actually 8, more like 8.
Wow.
And I was saying,
how old were you then?
I was 24 at the time. So I was looking at my dad and said, now, what do I do? So I looked at my mother, I said, Mom, could I have a word with you? So we went aside, said, okay, now, what do we do? I didn't know this was going to happen. My dad is there, people there. He's chosen me to be his heir, his musika, my grandson. This is like unheard of.
Yeah.
So I asked him, what do I do? And you know what my mom said? You decide, it's your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I said, it's your life, you're the one who's going to live this life.
Yeah.
So I thought about it quickly. I said, okay, now.
You can't say no, certainly.
But I was given the choice. I was given the choice to say no. Before they made it like public. So I thought about it. I said, you know what? This is an opportunity. If my grandfather's chosen me, definitely seen in me something. It could be leadership qualities, the qualities he's always wanted, things he used to preach to us when we were kids, let me take it on. Let me wear the mantle. Let me put on the crown, so to speak. I said, yes. I said, okay. So I went back. I told the head of our clan that, yes, I accept. And to me, that was a defining moment. From that day on, life became different for me. From that day on, I was treated differently. I was no longer treated as a child of Omuzukuru. I was treated as the heir from a particular Uganda. You know, that is from a personal perspective. From a professional perspective, another defining moment, I said I had quite a few. I was in England after, I think my grandfather died. After my grandfather died, I had to make a decision to change from, initially I was doing law at a college called Holborn Law Tutors in London. But at the time, during that time, they had something in Uganda where if you're going to send money abroad for your children for school fees, you had to go to the central bank. Something they call Window 2 before perhaps you guys were born. So I used to apply that I'm applying for school fees to send to my son or to my relative in the UK, and then you wait for like 2 weeks for approval.
Oh my God.
Mind you, it's your money, but you have to request for permission for the foreign exchange. So at that time, unfortunately, apparently the foreign exchange wasn't available, and the school had given me a deadline of I think 7 days. 7 days lapsed, and I had to make a decision. But you know, with God's luck, that's what I'm saying. And my luck is being filled with God's hand, God's protection. Before that, I had applied to another college within another college at the London University. And they accepted me, but not for law, for social sciences and public administration. And at that, on the 7th day when the deadline lapsed, that Holborn Law Tutors had given me to pay the tuition. London University, Goldsmiths College, sent me a letter saying they had accepted me on a scholarship.
Ooh.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Then I decided that, okay, I wanted to do law, but here's an opportunity to do something else, social science. I wasn't really in for that as yet, but I had to make that decision. A decision that, was going to affect my life.
That's true.
So I had to think and said, okay, do I need to go ahead with this? Yes or no? I said, Dennis, let's do it. And I left the law and I went to university. So that's why I said, much later on when I came back to Uganda, I said, let me go back and finish my law.
To your first love.
Yes.
The law was your first love. I want to live.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Now, this actually brings me to another question because you are diverse, especially in your career. You're into sales, you're into marketing, you're now into law.
Journalism.
And journalism.
Talk show host.
Guys,
I've been blessed.
My goodness. And so he was telling me before we started that he used to sit where I'm seated. So sometimes we might have to exchange. I think. He asked the question.
That is true. I used to be a talk show host.
That's lovely.
And I did interview a number of dignitaries at that time. So it was pretty interesting.
That's nice.
Yes.
So how do you bring all those together to make Paulo? And how do you do that? Because your career is really big and spans different areas, these industries as well. Yes. So how do you do that?
Lynn, that's a very good question. And I get a number of people asking it a lot of the time. I guess what I do, I just utilize whatever the situation calls for at that given moment. To give an example, if we were talking about, let's say, journalism, we've been talking about talk show hosting, interviewing, I pull out something that I learned, at the time. If we're talking about mobile phones, how they started in Uganda, I pull out something from there. If you're talking about legal, commercial, or criminal, or, family law for that matter, I pull out something. And that's what I use.
And when you mention that, most people don't believe that having skills in different areas makes you a wholesome person, makes you a dynamic person, and an easy person to go to. I have encountered quite a number of youth who approach me like, I set out to study this, but then I'm failing because I have got a job here. I want to do this. I'm thinking to myself, why don't you open up? Why don't you open up and and be open-minded so that you can learn? Because on this journey, we are literally learning every single day. So I ask you, Paulo, with all the skills that you got, and back to those two decisions you made, do you think you were intentional when you were 24, 25 with the decisions that you were presented? Or did you just dive into them because, well, you had to?
Lynn, that's a great question, because many young people, and Dennis himself at that age, I did not have a defined career path that I wanted to do. I did not, how can I put it? I had not yet actually sat down and said, this is the only thing I want to specialize in.
Right.
There's a saying that you can be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Meaning that you've done so many things and you haven't had time to specialize in one.
Right.
My answer to that would be specialization is good.
Yes.
And anybody who's specialized, it's great. However, you're going to meet people like myself and young people even today. They get to even maybe 30, 35, even 40, and they actually haven't discovered what they really want to do in life.
Right.
Yes, they have a degree, they have this, they have that, but they haven't really discovered what they want to actually do. I tell people when I go give talks, I tell them, first find out, because I've gone through it all. I know I've done so many things, and at the end, I've gone back to the law. I tell them, focus on what you really enjoy to do.
Right.
What is your passion? Passion is something that you enjoy to do, even without getting paid. You can enjoy it, and you persevere. Even if you fail 100 times, but because it's your passion, you keep going. So I tell people that first find what your passion is. But that doesn't mean that you stop what you're doing.
That's right.
You can do a number of things. In my case, yes, I was still on my journey, but after my university, my first degree, the number of short courses that I did in television. To give you an example, I went to CNN in Georgia, CNN International, and I was trained in television marketing, television management, talk show hosting, how to run a TV station, and all that. And later on in my life, I used it. Another example is, again, on a short course, I went to Brussels at a company called Ericsson. Ericsson are one of the leading world's mobile phone manufacturers. So I did some training there, again, in sales management,
right,
and selling mobile phones. Now, all these things, you can say that, yes, they're not, they're just certificates, but they were helping me along the way while I was actually getting to know who I am and what I wanted to do and what my passion is. And that is what has made me today. And actually, I like it. And I can advise people that if you haven't actually decided what you want to do in life, that doesn't stop you to do something else. Because nobody can know what's going to happen in the next 20 or 30 years.
Right.
You can say that, yes, okay, I'm going to specialize in law, I'm just going to do the law and deal in the legal world only, but the world changes and they need what? People with IT.
That's true.
You understand? People who have a great command of handling social media, everything is gone digital. That's where the world is going. If you specialize in something else, the law, medicine, or just an engineer, and the world is calling for IT specialists, there you go.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That means that with us specializing, if I specialize in a certain, say, for example, skill or industry or career, am I not missing out on others? Because do I need to sit down and redefine now my future? Do I need to re-strategize on how to go about my future? Because if I want a career in digital marketing, which is, by the way, one of the skills you ought to teach yourselves, should I just stick to that? Or do I go now to maybe media relations? Can I do IT something? Because I'm trying to diversify, and now you cannot survive with one skill. So you're specializing. You need to become. This is where the intentionality of it comes in. How do I sit down with myself to get intentional about myself?
I think the very first thing that you need to do is to do some kind of soul searching. Do some soul searching and say to yourself, okay, this is, I want to do digital media. That's what I want to specialize in. But there are other certain things that I like.
Right.
I like to do. And my advice to you is that, yes, specialize in the digital marketing, but do other smaller, the Americans call them minors.
Yeah.
You have a major discipline you're doing, but you have minors like, performing arts, liberal arts, etc., etc. And you do them, you keep them on the side, because you never know when you will need them in the future. Yes, so I'd advise that, yes, go on into other areas that you like and do something there, get a certificate. It doesn't, and that's another thing in life, that we were taught that if you were to do something, you have to get a degree for it. You have to go for 3 years, you specialize, 4 years, but that's no longer the case. Number one, you have short courses, and people still give certificates for that.
That's right.
Number two, again, because we're going in the digital age, everything is online. And even online, you can still get a certificate. You attended and you passed a short course in any discipline whatsoever.
That's true.
Yes, so I'd advise that. Diversify. Diversifying is good.
When you talk about diversifying, I don't know if you found yourself by mistake diversifying.
I like that.
Accidentally, you find yourself diversifying.
Yeah.
Circumstances, yes. But you find that maybe because I'm going back again to your decisions that you made at 24, right? And you had to choose between a scholarship and a first love, and his first love was law, and so he had to choose between law and a different course that he had no plans for, but it was a scholarship.
That's true.
And so when I say circumstantial finding of oneself, and you're saying, okay, fine. So I find myself in a situation where I have to quickly decide how my life should move forward.
True.
So what strategies did you employ? Did you go back to your mother and say, "By the mommy, what can I do?" Or did you go back to your father and say, "Okay, now, but first of all, I am the Mosque. How do I talk to my father about this?"
Yeah. That's really a great question, Lynn. And I'll be very honest with you. When you travel abroad, your parents send, maybe now it's different. You travel abroad, your parents send you to study. They can send you money for the first year, perhaps the second year, and after that you're on your own. And I'll tell you exactly what do I mean by you're on your own.
Right.
It means that you must start to fend for yourself. You use your money, you buy your own food, you get a part-time job. For example, in my case, I got a part-time job as a security guard.
No way.
Yes. So I'd finish classes at 3. Some days I'd have classes. Same like the university here. But some days some days you don't. So the days I'd have no class, I'd go and work as a security guard. And then in some of the cases, I got a job after, I think that was my very first job. And I worked for British Telecom again. Then meeting people, talking to people. I landed a small job in a bank called Citibank.
Ooh.
In Hamilton. But in all these cases, yes, something has happened. Like in my case, circumstances pushed me to make a decision. So, but in all these cases, you find yourself that, yes, if I'm going to go here, at times you don't have enough time to think about the pros and the cons. What are the advantages? Well, you say that you might decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. God willing, I'll come back to whatever I wanted to do in the beginning, but let me go with this. Let me learn the world. Let me use the skills that I'm going to learn from this area, and I'll apply them in my life. Mm-hmm. If God, allows me, which He has, to go back to go, well and good. Mm-hmm. But your journey in life has started. You are alone. And when you're out there again, like I said, you're on your own. You have to fend for yourself.
Paul, let's come back a little bit to Uganda. Yes. I'm sure you've encountered quite a number of Ugandan youth.
Yes.
And they're quite indecisive.
True.
Some of them are hang on to certain things that might not really benefit them. And in this day and age, which is, by the way, you sleep and before you know it, you've woken up and it's a new world. Yes. And there's a whole lot of new stuff happening. How can I'll still go back to the question of what do I need to do to sit down with myself and take note of the words I'm using, sit down with myself. Most of us fear introspection because either we're scared of the skeletons deep inside us or around us that we fail to plan for ourselves. And so this is what I'm going to ask you to tell us. Have you strategized in a way for your life? Or was it because you were abroad and faced with life-changing decisions, and you're like, okay, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do that because my future looks like. How do I get to this point, and particularly Ugandan youth?
Okay. This message is actually directed to the Ugandan youth. It's not easy to as a young person to sit down and plan or to have a self-audit. Now, in my old age, I started working, I started doing a self-audit or planning, strategizing, sitting down on a monthly basis, 6-month basis, year basis.
How old were you when you did that, when you started doing that?
I think after 27, 28.
Wow.
So I've done that,
Wow.
And also, again, living abroad in a way, when you're living alone, you learn how to manage your finances.
That's true.
You have to understand how to manage your finances. You're getting paid directly. You're getting paid, for example, £100 a week, and you have to budget for that £100 a week. You take off 20 pounds for your rent, 30 pounds for food. At the time, we used to have a pay-as-you-go yaka where you put in a coin and you and the lights come on and gas. So you really.
And you guys are making noise about our yaka here.
And you are forced to. You could be the naughtiest or change your person, but once you are thrown in there and there is no money, your parents are not sending you money for the tuition. They can send tuition, but then they can tell you, okay, spend for yourself. Once that money is not coming, and that's it. You're on your own. And the culture, the English, or perhaps let me generalize, the culture abroad, but more especially England. In America, it's slightly different. In England, to give an example, everybody is for him or for herself. If both of us live in England, and you come to my house without calling me first, I don't open for you. No, I don't. I did not plan for you. That's point number one. Point number two, again, we go back to budgeting. For that week, I've been paid $100. I know I buy 3 pints of milk, 1 loaf of bread, 4 eggs, stuff, everything is itemized. So when you come to visit me, you're going to...
You're talking my budget.
Yes.
Yeah, and
this business of, and again, when you leave Uganda and you go there, you get to understand it when it happens to you. This business of going to somebody's place or they have a party or dinner, you go with your own drink. What you're going to drink, you go with your own drink. And again, when you go there, you're green Ugandans, no, they say, please go back and get your drink. So after some time, you learn that everywhere you go with your drink. be it a grapefruit juice.
Oh, yeah.
You go with your own drink.
Yes, he walked in here with his own drink. We were given some water, but he walks in here with his own drink.
So that teaches you at an early age
Yeah.
on how to budget and to, do a self-audit of your life. But really, let's be honest, for a Ugandan child who is 16, 17, 18, 19, even 25, it's very difficult for young people, and as it was for me at that age, to do a self-audit, to sit down and strategize. You have to be very, very disciplined to do that. And that age is not easy to do that. So for the youth, really, my message to them is, yes, if it's not easy, but you can try. You can put a skeleton. What do I mean by a skeleton? A skeleton plan. You can keep it at the back of my mind that, I really have to plan, what is my expenditure? What am I bringing in? Some young people are lucky their parents give them money, but it reaches a point when that money runs out. When their parents want to teach them a lesson that you now have to stand on your own 2 feet. You have to be independent. So the time must come for you to strategize. And for that, if again, the lesson is starting to strategize, you write down, first of all, what your goals are. What are your goals? What do you want to do? You want to specialize, but have other smaller, minor disciplines or things you want to do, you write them down. Up to now, my friends laugh at me because I find it difficult to get into the digital age. I write. I love to write. I love to write. I write everything, yes. And I find it difficult to go, like planning my appointments, like today, I put it in my phone, I find it straight. So I keep writing. I love to write.
Okay.
So you write down what your goals are, and then you plan how are you going to achieve goal number one.
Yeah. What do you need to achieve?
What do I need? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Then I get to goal number one. Then I do the same thing for goal number two. Okay. I'll give an example. It could be anything. Let's say, let me look back in my history. There was when I was working for Cableset Television on the CNN World Report. Yeah. And then Soto Propergem, I told you, that was the very first company that bought mobile phones. They came. And a friend of mine said that, you know what, Dennis, yes, you've been working in the television industry, but these people need somebody who's a little exposed, knows the world. They want to open up the first mobile company in Uganda. Think about it, but they want to call you for an interview. So at that time I said, I answered them and said, no, I won't go for an interview. If they want me, they take me.
Oh,
so he left. But then when he left, when I was alone, I actually thought about it. And I said, this is quite important. This will be my big break in life. So let me start writing a few things that I need to do if I want to join this company. So something like that, you start writing down certain things. And then it wakes you up. You say, what am I good at? And again, skills are tools, things that you use to reach where you are, things that you're good at, things, that life gives you to get along in the world. So you start writing down, I have such a skill. I provide solutions. I'm a creative thinker. I have initiative. All that. So I started doing them slowly. But at that age again, it's here and there. Yeah. But it forces you. But again, young children should start developing that. And now again, because of the digital we're in, it shouldn't be that difficult because everything is online. The only problem I have again with the digital era is that young children, they don't get time to think out things. The
internet is thinking for us.
Get it from here, copy and paste. They do not have time to actually think and understand what are the pros and cons. If I do this, this is the outcome. If I do that, that is that. It is no longer there. But again, the world is changing.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes.
And so I remind you that we do leadership training courses here at the Fidelis Leadership Institute, and we urge you to be part of us. If you have joined us on our spaces, we are glad you're part of us this afternoon. We speak visionary minds. How can you craft your future intentionally? How do you put it in place? Thank you for joining us, those of you who are on spaces, and we also live on Smart 24. With me is Mr. Kavuma Paulo Dennis, and we are speaking, visionary minds. I'm sort of enjoying the conversation, but this guy doesn't like the digital space, so you won't get him there.
I'm old school.
He's so old school, he says. But when you talk to him, trust me, doesn't sound like old school at all. So Paulo, a question came in here, and it says you've been recognized for your leadership and relationship building skills. How do you create a cohesive team and establish lasting business relationships with C-level executives and international clients? It's a huge question.
It is. C-level clients. This is, we're looking at CEO, chief executive level, chief operations manager. Now, these are the people who make the key decisions in companies. And it is very important to actually get to know these people, since they're the decision makers. The important thing is, how do we reach them? Again, I'll go back to give an example of companies I was working. Let's take Uganda Telecom. In Uganda Telecom, I was the corporate and small and medium enterprises manager. We had cases whereby we had to get new business. And in order to get new business, you'd have to meet the CEO of the different companies.
Yes.
Let's say, I'm trying to remember some of the names of the companies, like Shell, the Revenue Authority, Uganda Investment Authority. So the kind of team I built, who I had at the time, I had people, and again, you cannot know everything. So you need to surround yourself with people, experts, who can give you the numbers, who can give you, yes, you can develop the strategy, but you need people who are going to help you put the strategy in action. To give you an example, you want to do business with a corporate company, it could be Shell, it could be, foreign embassy, again, in telecoms. So you draw the plan, a presentation that you're going to give them. And what do you want to do? Because they could be with another company.
That is probably the competitor.
And you need to get them leave that company, or give half of their business to you from that company. So you surround yourself with numbers. You look at the pricing. That was very important. But apart from the pricing, it was customer care.
Right.
And these big organizations, because they already have a budget for let's say, for the telecom, they pay more special attention for customer care. So once you align the customer care and numbers and everything is convenient or is within the budget of that organization, definitely they'll give you the business. But again, you'd have to have a working level. You'd have to be at par with the CEOs of these companies. And where would you meet them? You'd have to meet them somewhere. Either you'd be a member of a Rotary Club, or at the time, or Kampala Club, or the Sheraton Club.
There's a famous one, the elevator pitch.
Yes. And you have how many seconds or minutes to throw your pitch?
I know.
Yes. And it's true.
Yeah.
It is true. So you would have to place yourself strategically where to meet these people. And in my budget, I had an entertainment budget.
Oh.
Just strictly to entertain the C-level executives from the Sheraton to Serena, to even to take them to like Nairobi or Tanzania, there was a special budget for that.
Wow.
So it's important.
Talking about entertainment, how do you spend your free time? I don't like asking a question, but you look like you get some time for yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What excites you? Books.
Well, books, I've done a lot of books, especially after having back to the Law Development Center.
Wow.
So for now, the books are going easy, but from the entertainment part of it, I like going to live bands. Again, old school. I listen to a lot of Afrigo band. Also I like the live choirs. Very fun live choirs, church music.
Yeah.
Church music. One of my daughters belongs to a church here, and every Thursday and Sunday they have services. But again, everything is digital. I watch everything online, and I love it's called the worship, where they just sing and praise.
Wow.
So I like that.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah. What else do I do? I try to keep fit. I used to play basketball. I used to be the captain of our team long ago.
Oh, wow.
So I still go out and, shoot some hoops, like the Americans call it.
Okay.
So I do that. And reading, no, but I go online again I'm a kind of person who keeps and likes to educate myself. If there's something new out there, I like to read about it and understand.
So are you in touch with the AI?
Well, I'm getting there. I'm getting there, but it's still a bit, I can't say weird, but it's a step above me, but I'm saying I'll get there in the right time.
It is weird. We need to accept it.
But again, it's something that is coming and we need to accept it.
Yes.
We just need to understand how it works and how well it can be used and why it should not be abused.
Absolutely. Yes. Another question came in here for you. Your involvement in community service is notable.
Yes.
How do you see the intersection between professional success and community impact, and why it is important for leaders to give back? Again, you talked about Rotary. Are you a member of the Rotary Club?
Komugisha.
Oh, great. So if you could answer that question for us.
Yeah. I'll answer it in two ways. Community work. I think in a way my community work, or I started to be trained in community work when I was a young boy.
Right.
What do I mean by that? I used to go out with I grew up with my grandfather. So he used to take me to wherever he was going. When he was going for meetings, talk to people, I used to tag along. So I think, in a way I started doing that. And then when I grew up, more especially, actually, before I left Uganda, there was an organization called Subiria Buganda, which was it was for the youth, getting the youth together, organizing them to do work, to do businesses, and really to be law-abiding citizens, so to speak. So that was my first taste. I was the vice president of that organization. But then after that, I had to go to America. Now, in America, I used to live in California. Now, that is where the true meaning of community work, that's where it kicked in. And how is that? I was voted to I became the president of the Ugandans living in California, in Southern California.
Right.
The organization is called IPOCA. And again, from another perspective, this is something else, but I have to throw this in. Everything in America is big. In Uganda, perhaps you'd say, oh, you're running to be chairman of this association. Yeah. In America, you either run as a president or vice president.
That's right.
And everything is big. Anyhow, so I became the president of the Ugandans living in Southern California. And with that opened new opportunities, new ideas, picked up new skills, and helping the community, the people, the Ugandans, and actually Ugandans, and other Africans, because they're Kenyans, Nigerians, Tanzanians, who live in California, and they used to come to our meetings. So that's how I started serving the community. And in what capacity? As president, but in what area particularly? We used to do seminars every month. seminars on how to regularize your stay in the United States. What does that mean? How do you get your green card? And after getting your green card, how do you go on to apply for American citizenship?
Absolutely.
And these are people, and
do they still do it? Because I think they still have challenges.
Yes, they do. So we set up seminars for this. We'd call people from the U.S. immigration department and lawyers, actually, immigration lawyers, and to speak to the people. But surprisingly, you find people who have been there for like 15 years, but they don't have green cards and they never did anything about it. And you ask them and say, why haven't you regularized your stay? So I didn't know. Nobody told us. So we used to do that once a month. We used to do insurance schemes. Again, teaching people that if you're in this situation, you live in America, you must have insurance. You live in America, you now have children. Get them good education. And here are the certain things that you can do so that they get free education, at least from the elementary level, even college level. So we used to provide that information. I used to make sure that we go do our homework. We bring the people who are in charge of, let's say, scholarships in education, people in charge of immigration. What else did we introduce? We introduced people, we used to call it Muna Mukabi, whereby if anybody had a problem, we had a fund whereby people would throw in money, and that fund would help people, in problems.
That points to leadership.
Yes.
But the question would be, how does community work and involvement, sort of build one's leadership capabilities? Is there a moment in life where you were involved in community work and it gave you a perspective about leadership?
Actually, to be honest with you, most of the times that I've served in community projects, I've just felt good giving back. Being able to use my expertise, knowledge, my experience, my connections and know-how to give back to the community, to the people. And that in a way that makes me feel great. And I think that's why I feel God put me on this earth. If the opportunities is given me, whatever I have, the little knowledge I have, I give it back. I spread it out there so that people can use it to better their lives. Absolutely. It's a saying that I really believe in, that it's good to make money, however much money it is, but you must help others. Make money while helping others. That is what I believe in.
Okay, and now as we start to, as we wind up, actually, not start to wind up. I know, I feel like we've not even started the conversation.
Yes.
So you are joining, the team at FLI is asking this one, and they're saying, as you join the FLI Leadership Fellowship, what specific goals or aspirations do you have for your future leadership role in shaping industries and communities?
Whoa. That's a tough one. Well, again, first I'd like to thank the people at Fidelis for giving me the opportunity to be here and to have a discussion, a chat with you. I look forward to joining the organization. I look forward to actually learn from them. That is the plan, is to learn from them.
Right.
While I'm honing the skills I already have, my plan is to learn from them. What I'll bring is my age, my experience.
Okay.
If you're in such a situation, Dennis, what would you do? This is what I'll do. But I'm very open-minded, and again, I said I like to keep educating myself, improving myself. So I think this is another chance when I join the Fidelis group to improve myself.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give to aspiring professionals and leaders in navigating the ever-evolving leadership space?
I think the most important message I'd like to give to the youth and youth leaders, and perhaps, I guess, everybody who's not yet in the industry, but I guess on the same level, is to define your goals. Define your goals. But before you define your goals, decide what you really want to do. After you decide what you want to do, pursue it. After you pursue it, you can pursue other things. the most important thing is keep rebranding yourself. Keep rebranding yourself. You are not, God did not put you in this world to just do one thing. You can do many other things. To give you an example, in my life, I've been from school, okay, I was a school prefect, I was captain of basketball, rugby, you name it, all that. Then I moved on to another level. I've been a fashion model.
No.
I'm telling you. Now, we're talking about rebranding.
Yes.
And again, the life God has given
Reinventing.
Exactly. Okay, reinventing.
Yes.
Okay, I've reinvented myself over the years. Now, the latest reinvention was when I went to LDC. I said, people said, what? You mean you did what? I said, at your age? I said, yes. What's wrong with that?
What is that for you?
So, I've been a fashion model. This was in Kenya, in England. I'm a social scientist. I was the president of the Ugandan Association. I did what? I was an anchor, the first Ugandan anchor on CNN World Report. A founder of the first mobile company in Uganda with Social Clover. Now, what am I doing now? Sales and marketing guru. You know, now I'm a lawyer. You know, so keep rebranding yourself. Do not be afraid to make new moves. Don't be afraid.
Absolutely.
God put you on this world to enjoy all the opportunities He put in this world.
And to also discover your talents.
Thank you.
And remind yourself that you are
Exactly.
an embodiment of Jesus Christ Himself, and you are capable of so much.
Yes.
And like Paulo has told us, you need to keep reinventing yourself, and you'll be shocked at the capabilities that lie within you.
And one more thing.
Yes.
With all that, you invent yourself, but always put God first. Whatever you do,
Absolutely.
sit down, get on your knees, thank Him for everything that He has given you, and thank Him for what He's going to give you in the future, and to provide the pathway for you.
Absolutely.
To lead you.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
Always.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And now, for the final reveal, do you actually smoke?
No, I don't. I've tried
Okay.
when I was in my teens long ago, and
Okay.
it wasn't.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was a terrible experience.
So that's not true about Paulo. He doesn't smoke.
Yes.
What was the other thing? You said you're a people person.
Yes, yes.
You actually are a people person.
Are you telling me or are you asking?
I'm asking.
Yeah. Yes. I'm a people person.
Yes.
And again, one of the qualities, one of the skills that young people must have is you must be a people person, or you must be, they call it communication skills. But before somebody actually speaks to you, they first look at you.
Yeah.
How do you come out as? So you
First
really have-
impression.
Yes, exactly. So in whatever you do, you have to be presentable. You must be well groomed. You must wear to the part. You know, before they talk to you, they look at you and they judge you. And it's human nature, by the way. People say, "Oh no, it's bad. How can you judge some people? How can you judge people by just looking at them, but the way they dress?" But that is human nature.
That is
We
how
do
you
that.
appear. How am I supposed to look?
When they see you and they said, "Yes, I think I trust this person," especially now in the legal world, people look at it and say, "Is this a lawyer? Will this lawyer be able to handle my 500 million shillings?" Look at him, look at the shoes he's wearing, look at the belt. I won't deal with this.
Yeah.
So communication is key again, but presentation, then once they open the door, then they can get to know about your speaking skills, writing skills, initiative skills, good leadership skills,
Critical
all the skills that you have.
Yeah.
But the very first thing in the door
Is presentation.
Presentation.
Absolutely.
And communication.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, Paulo, I had to come to a conclusion with this conversation. It's been really lovely. Thank you. We've
Thank
been
you.
speaking
Time
visually.
flies. I'm still enjoying myself.
Yeah,
Let's keep
me
going.
too. We could go on to the next 1 hour, but would be an inconvenience to
Yes,
others. But
yes.
thank you so much for making time.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. You and Fidelis and the entire group.
Absolutely.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic. Thank you, those of you who joined us on our spaces, and also to Smart 24. Those of you who've been watching, this is Fat Talks. Fat Talks comes your way every Thursday, 4 p.m. and we get to speak issues, ethics, leadership, being teachable, and all those things, because we are Fidelis Leadership Institute. Now, you could go to our website and apply to join the next cohort of the Fidelis leaders that is starting in March, and that is on March 2nd. So please, you have an entire month to think about your life, re-strategize, reinvent yourself. It's never too late. I remain Lynn, Komugisha, and I wish you the very best of this evening, and we'll catch you again next time.
Thank you. And I remain DPK.